Kinney. I come to Droitwich in Year 7 from Godwin Primary School, and I've been in Droitwich now for 7 years because I've just finished sixth form, and I'm now going to King's College London University in September to study a 3-year business management degree. In 8 and 9, my attitude was quite bad in the school, and to be honest with you, I didn't really care. I wasn't bothered, I wasn't focused or motivated to actually come into school and do well. To be honest with you, I thought I was a class clown, and that coming to school was just time to have a laugh with my mate and make people laugh at me because I thought I was funny. And I was basically constantly getting in trouble throughout the 3 years, exclusion after exclusion, detention after detention. My mum and dad have been had to constantly come up to school, getting on the wrong side of teachers, and basically it got to a point where every day I was coming into school and I knew I was going to cause trouble because it's what I wanted to do and it's what my friends were like. I think it's safe to say that I got in with the wrong crowd of people, and maybe my friends weren't the best people to guide me, as basically they was just the same as me and they was doing the same as me. So it was almost like competitions of who could do the worst thing, who could get in the most trouble, and that's sort of how I thought was the right way to earn respect when I was young in school. And then I realised it got me into a lot of trouble, and after several years of exclusions, in Year 9 I actually got permanently excluded from Droitwich, and I was off school for about 2 months. And I was only fortunate enough that I got a phone call to say I was asked to come back in for a meeting, and luckily enough the school gave me one last chance, and that was to come back in Year 10. And then I basically, if I made one mistake, I was gone for good.
Stuart Kinney, I was his head of year from Year 7 through to Year 11, and we had our ups and downs. Really, I've got a few facts and figures here about how he was for those 5 years, and it really was a roller coaster of a ride. Attendance never higher than 64% in the 5 years that I taught him and was his head of year. He was constantly in the top 5 of the behaviour sort, top being the worst in the year group. I think he got to level 8 in the exclusion ladder. He was like a yo-yo, up and down and up and down.
That's the worst part of my education so far. I'd most definitely say the worst part would have to be my early years in Year 7, 8 and 9, because I was constantly getting in trouble, constantly trying to be a class clown, trying to impress people, thinking I was funny. And I must admit I was really rude and disrespectful to teachers, which is something I do regret now. And it's something I wouldn't ever recommend to anyone to do, because if you do it, when you do grow up and you get a little bit older and more mature, you will realise that actually you are the one in the wrong. The thing I'm the proudest about, and I'm glad I achieved, is that when I was fortunate enough to get my second chance, I actually took it, and I could say at least 90% of the teachers in the school honestly wouldn't have thought I would have come back and done so well. They would have thought I'd have been here a month and gone again. But the fact that I proved them wrong, not in a horrible or jealous way, is an achievement for me, because I showed that I can do it, and I actually have done it, and I've now been accepted into one of the top 10 universities practically in the world to study business management. When looking back at the friends I used to hang around with now, I actually realise I'm maybe the smarter but lucky one, because I realised before it was too late when I was given my second chance, whereas they didn't. And I've had friends that have got kicked out of school. Okay, they did go to college, but lasted a month or two and then they was gone. And basically now they sit around on the streets making no good for themselves. Alright, some of them might have a job earning £200 a week, but £200 a week might be a good amount of money to someone now, but what's it going to be in the future when they've got a family and they've got to provide for themselves and have a home? It's not going to be doable, which is why I feel now what I'm doing in comparison to them, it will benefit me in the future and in the long run, whereas they may be unfortunately struggling in the future due to the second chances that they didn't take when they was given them from the school.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Absolutely shone. He went on, he passed all of his exams, passed his GCSEs and realised that he had a brain. He then came back to us at sixth form, and the rest is history. He's excelled, he finished his level 3 course by Easter of Year 13, he's been offered a top university place or a top employment opportunity in the city. Stuart Kinney is somebody I'm extremely proud of, but is somebody who could have gone either way. And if he hadn't have engaged with the school and believed in what we were saying to him, I don't think he would be where he is today. So well done to you, Stuart. We are very proud of you.
The really good thing about Stuart was that everybody saw some good in him, except for him. He was just on a self-destruct mode. But ultimately, when he was kicked out of the year group, that was the final call for him. I think he realised that he needed to buck his ideas up. And going from a student that was belligerent, rude, disrespectful, but also he had a lovely side. He had the humorous side, he had the charming side, he had the chat. And I think that was what got him through, because ultimately he realised that he could use that to his benefit. And I remember the day that he turned it around. He came back in with Jamie Bajaya, who funnily enough is in the same situation. And he said, I'm going to do something about this, miss. I'm in trouble at home, I'm in trouble at school, I need to do something about it. And I remember that day as clearly as anything. And that was the day that Stuart Kinney was reborn. And he's turned into the gentleman that we always knew that he would be. The charming, charismatic, intelligent young man. So I'm really proud of him. And he had support, but he did it himself.
This is Stuart Kinney's file. You can see from the amount of paperwork here that this is a young man that faced a lot of difficulties, it's fair to say, when he was with us first of all. One of the things I enjoy most about this job is making a difference to young people and making a difference to young people's lives, and Stuart is a real success story. He's got a great sense of humour, and we've developed a relationship now that I can ring him up and ask him to come in and help me with my assemblies, and he's always willing to help, and we have a good laugh. It wasn't always like that, and in fact up until about midway through year 10 Stuart was in my office quite often, and I was meeting his mum quite often, and it was usually a negative conversation, and there was a time that I thought he wasn't going to make it to the end of year 11. I'm really pleased to say, and it's really why I do this job, that he turned that around. And it's great to see a student do that. It's great to see them make choices and make the right choices, because too often we have to get on their backs and nag you all about don't do this, don't do that, or pick them up for the negative things. It's nice to do the opposite side of the positive things. Stuart made a choice, and he faced the choice of leaving school or being kicked out of school or changing his behaviour, and that's what he did. And actually has gone on to be one of our success stories here at Joe Richardson. That's why we do the job. That's why I enjoy working at Joe Richardson.
I wanna be a billionaire so freaking bad, buy all of the things I never had.